the pilot, that's his head right there, and they would fly over the forest and just basically shoot the wolves. And so hunting, I mean, this is not a nice image, but I have to show it, but hunting's come the way of our agriculture. We've really, really industrialized it, and this isn't like a picture from Where's Waldo. You can't see a wolf in here, and I really don't think that one could get in. So the question goes, why is it that we're still doing this when we've completely changed the methods of farming? And actually, sadly, this is some of the pictures that are making the internet today. The fact that the hunting that we do now is much more for sport. There's nobody here that is really benefiting from this, apart from people finding their pockets. And so, the question now says, have we really gone too far? Have we really gone too far down this path? And because I'm not speaking so much from a scientific angle, we don't have too much time. The only thing I want to say is that I think the fact that last year in the mainstream we had a film called Raising Extinction that came and made a point that fossil fuels and the trade in wild animals is really the thing that seems to be affecting the environment and driving extinction at paces that we've never seen before. I think when a film makes it to that kind of level, we have to say, gosh, we realise all those things in medieval ages, they were not good. And are we starting to wake up to something that soon we're going to see go that same direction, that we don't do anymore? And I think this is the point where I'm certainly convinced that the answer is yes. And already there's a lot of evidence that people are starting to want to rewild the countryside. So this is France. This is a map at the top on the left that you see the wolf population of where they were prevalent at the end of the 18th century. Now, the middle one is where they were prevalent, sorry, just here, at the end of the 1800s. And below, this is the start of the 20th century. You can see they're almost gone. Now, France was seen as pretty much the most progressive country at some point because it was considered wolf-free. And other nations used to strive to be like France, and now they have decided to go in the general direction of rewilding. And I think that's a big point that I want to make. There are, at the moment, more and more regions around the world that are saying, yes, this is the right thing to do. So we have a big area in Cantabria, and I will talk about a park that is made especially for cohabitation of the wild species. But when you look at this, I find this quite striking because it's not like in the news there are stories of people getting hurt by wolves, or there's not more stories making the news that the countryside is suffering. And I think that actually we're starting to see this change already going on in the background. And there are people who see other problems and are doing something about it. So for instance, there's a lady in Costa Rica who really felt that she was seeing far too many wild animals in people's homes. And she estimates that in Costa Rica, 50% of households have a wild animal living with them, whether it's a sloth or a bird or something bigger. And so she started a bed and breakfast that generates money, but that money goes to pay the vets and also all of the enclosures for the animals that she rescues from these very, very dire environments, people's homes. There's a place called Howling Woods Farm, and they help dogs like Zapata. So Zapata is an example of a hybrid which is very difficult to look after. I mean, when he was at home and if his owner went out, he would try and jump out of the window, he would try and eat everything, he would whine, it was a terrible nightmare. So very few people can actually look after a dog like that, but lots of them want them. This is a place where they end up like broken toys that somebody threw away when they can't be looked after. And here you can go in and there's a visitor just going to hug wolves. And again, this is the point that when people in proximity see the animals not really that dangerous, as the books or the media make them believe, our barriers break down. Now in Germany, there's an amazing centre. You can go and live in these little houses for a week or two and just have the walls run around beneath you. Obviously, you don't have to be throwing too much garbage out your window, but this is what they do, and they also have an educational element to just remind people where we've been and where we've come from. And then there's a place, I don't know if anyone's ever visited it, in Zamora. There's a relatively large reserve where wolves have now been released into the wild, knowingly. And so the deer and the wolves, they live side by side, and the way that they help control the population is where there is roadkill, or when there is some meat from supermarkets, they actually bring it to the area and the wolves eat that instead of going for all the native creatures. And very locally, maybe somebody's visited this place before. Yep. So we have a monkey sanctuary not too far from here. It's just in Girona. And imagine there are monkeys here that have been illegally transported from Africa, from Asia. They're living in people's homes, and they become too big, they become too aggressive, and people either have to euthanize them, or they have to put them into a sanctuary like this. Now, it was very strange. We became friends with the people who run this, and one of the chimps there was bought by somebody in a pet shop that's on the Rambla here in Barcelona. So if you think that there are sanctuaries trying to do good work like this, they're already overflowing, they need to move to get more space. Can you imagine how many native species there are living in people's homes in not good conditions? And they're exactly the animals that we actually want to help. And that comes to us. So knowing that all of this is going in the world, we actually really want to bring a piece of Catalonia back to a more wild area, but very responsibly. And I think what we have to do there is really prove that the economics of living alongside wildlife rather than wanting to exterminate it for profit is what we want to go down as a route, because this is possible, and this is where people will not feel threatened anymore. And I think this is actually when people can come and roam free and enjoy being outside with the wildlife that really should be there today. Now, one thing that we really want to do is keep the countryside as pristine as it is, and we want to help people in the countryside, which we've met who also seem to be very, very behind a project like this, to be able to work there and be the stakeholder.